everybody, welcome to Smashing Game Time. We are two brothers that go through gaming's back catalog of yesteryear, and it is a special time of the year. I don't know if you know this, but it is GOATY 2024. Josh is so glad that I didn't say GOATY so because he hates that word. He's hated that word ever since I coined it 2 years ago now.
I do. This is my second least favorite time of the year because it is halfway to GOATY so.
Hey, in 6 months from now, I will be screaming GOATY so from the rooftops, and everyone will be cheering because it is everyone's favorite time of the year.
And while Nick is doing that, I will be unaliving myself with said rooftops.
Ooh, you waited. You got the perfect amount of time to mention that. You waited until we were a minute 15 in, and then
Yes.
And then the video was like, now YouTube would be like, no, it's fine. He waited. He waited. He
He gave it 60 seconds.
We'll push it. We'll push the video. If you're new to the show, we've done this. This is our third GOATY. Is this our third or our fourth GOATY?
I think it's our third.
Might be our third. Because we didn't do it the first year because we started in December, if I remember correctly.
December 2022 is the last one, or the earliest we have.
Okay, so this is our third GOATY. So for those wondering, like, well, what the fuck are you guys doing? What is this? What is going on? So we have 10 categories from across the year. They're great categories. We're going to have an episode today, which is Monday. We're going to have one on Tuesday. We're taking a break for Wednesday because it's Christmas and ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody listening to no podcast. You're all playing with your new toys. Thursday, we'll come back with 3 more categories. And then Friday will be top dog. It'll be one category. It'll be game of the year. For game of the year, we pick the top 10. Every other category, we pick top 3. And yeah. And then we'll also have some articles going up on the site. Those will be more so after the new year. That just gives everyone time away from the computer. But in January, be looking for those lists. I'll have one up. We may have one from Josh. We may also have some guests putting some up as well. So keep an eye out for that business. Josh, what is your favorite part of GOATY?
The ending.
The ending. He's ready for the end. Oh, people just love to hear that someone's ready for it to already be over.
No. Okay, so my problem is I'm very much I'm a very go with the flow kind of person. So it's hard for me to be subjective with this kind of stuff and like defend myself because I'm like, yeah, I know you're right. I don't want to fight. Like, let's make love, not war. But instead, I have to actually. That mentality for me is like, okay, I got to turn around and I have to fight. I have to push at least for one of mine to be on the list. At least one.
Because if you don't, I'm just going to get all mine on the list no matter what.
And I can't let that happen because that's how Fortnite happened.
Fortnite did get on a list last year.
I know. And I let it happen again, folks. We'll get to that point. But at that point, it was more of a, okay, I'm done arguing because I kept throwing out ideas. And Nick was like, no, that's fucking stupid. We're already doing this, our show. And I'm like, God damn it. Then let us do it. It's my idea.
Oh, I give you good feedback. I'm not being hurtful. Everyone's going to think I'm a monster off camera. They're going to be like, wow, Nick is really mean to Josh.
It's Nick the Dick. There's a reason why that's his nickname.
No, not a monster. Not a monster, everybody. I am a perfectly good human. Fuck Josh. He's getting put in a cage after this episode. I mean, wait, I'm supposed to say that off screen. Shit, it's over.
Wow.
It's over.
We got him.
Before we talk categories, as always, Smashing Game Time to wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, and YouTube proper, where you can see our wonderful faces. We do have video format, just in case you're listening and you're like, I want to see what these fucks look like. Well,
yeah,
you can
see that I'm not look like I'm abused because of makeup.
Jesus Christ, Josh. Jesus. You're losing everybody. You're losing everybody.
I prayed every single day. He never comes. All right.
They're gone. Hey, fuck the algorithm, tell a friend. That's right. We don't fuck with computers or machines here, but except for the ones we're recording on right now. We love you, computers we're recording on. But the stars, the words on Apple, we don't give a shit. Just tell people that you like if you like the show. Tell people you hate if you hate the show. Word of mouth is king here with the bros. Yeah, and that's my housekeeping. New song up top from Lacrembo. I used to use Lacrembo's songs when I was doing Iron Harvest, like guides, because I would do, a strategy game is really, a level will be really long when you're doing a guide, so it'll be like a 45-minute video. But I would do them like double speed and just have the music playing as the speed going.
And have like little notes pop up out of nowhere.
I would do
Yep.
notes, and then I would have maps pop up and draw things, and I would do my voiceover during that. I was also using, I forget what the video. I wasn't using DaVinci yet. I was using some shitty little like, you probably use it in a high school video production class. I was using that to make videos, and you could tell if you go back and watch a lot of stuff I made back in 2020, I was using the laptop a lot, and the laptop was chugging to like record and then also record to play the game, to also be recording the game. It was just chugging. Chug, 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 chug. I only bring all
Hey,
that up to say it's nice to use the Little Crumbo song again. It's nice. There'll be a link to his stuff in the show notes. Go check it out. We've got 3 wonderful categories today. Josh, in
yeah.
order, can you give us the 3 categories today?
Yeah, we're gonna start off with best new character.
Cool.
Then we'll move on to disappointment of the year.
And that could be
finally,
a game, that could be news, that could be anything
yep,
that happened in
basically anything that
the
makes us
culture.
just regret our lives in the gaming world, honestly.
And then what's the
And
last
then
one?
and to end it off, we thought a nice little fun thing this year because Josh gets a little tired towards the end, and Nick likes to have lots of fun and talk. So we gave Nick his own special category today, and it is best comic series Nick has read this year.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I got into comic books in February. I did an improv show at a comic book store here, and let's just say in February I had 0 comic books, and now if you can look behind me, I have like 553 comic books and some trade paperbacks.
And I know what everybody's thinking. Guys, this is a gaming podcast. Why are you talking about comics? Well, I'll tell you exactly the same words Nick told me. Fuck them. That's why.
Fuck them. It's our show. We can do what we want. You might see some games that weren't released in 2024 in some of these nominations, and that's because we played them and they made up a part of our year. That's the beauty of it, folks. There are no rules. None of it matters. None of it matters at all.
If you care that much, make a comment or make your own podcast. We don't give a shit, apparently.
No, we don't. But also, thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it.
We hate you, but we love you. They already knew all this going in. They're like, these guys.
It's for the people who decided to skip that episode and go straight into it, okay?
Yeah.
So because somebody's like saw that and they're like, I don't want to watch them pick. I'll just like it's like the Game Awards show. Like you don't give a shit prior. You're like, I just want to watch during. So you just watch during it and find out all the categories and all that.
I can't wait to argue with Josh with all these. This is going to be good. So remember, the 3 categories today, we're picking the top 3. We got to narrow it down to 3.
The first one should be fairly easy.
I don't think so.
It's not as big.
First one is best new character, and I'm going to pull it up on the screen for those watching at home. We've got, for best new character, we've got Pepper from Pepper Grinder. We've got Mint from Pepper Grinder. We've got Sargon from Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. We've got Flockbird and also Sheep, both from Flock, and I've got them both in one picture down there in case you're wondering. We've got Becky Brewster from #Blood. We've got the Balatro Joker from Balatro. We've got the Liar Bar Animals, which is a group of 4 animals. I cannot tell you their names, but they are hilarious. From Banishers, you've got Antea Duarte. You've got Red Mac Wraith. I'm not going to... Ruddering? I'm going to butcher that. Sorry, his name is Red. They're the couple from Banishers. If you've played Banishers, you know. From Haunty, we've got Haunty. From Still Wakes to Deep, we've got Cameron Kaz McLeary. From Banana, which is the Banana Clicker game, we've got the Banana. From Children of the Sun, we've got Girl, the protagonist of the game. From Space Marines 2, we've got Titus. And then from Frostpunk 2, we've got the Steward, which is the player character. Josh, did you have anyone from any of the Final Fantasies, any of the Refantasios, any of the, not Dragon Age, the Like a Dragon? You've got all these RPGs. I wonder if any of those characters come into play.
So Final Fantasy, everybody knows all the characters. I'm not even going to try and put them on there because I want to get some of these. They're not really new. You know what I mean? Like they're just
This is
like
true.
yeah, maybe a side character, but even then, like okay, it's rinse and repeat. There's 15 billion Sids. We've seen Cloud and Sephiroth and every other thing. Every guy has a poster of Aerith or Tifa somewhere. Should I go any further with that? I don't think so.
Poster? I got a statue.
Right.
Does anyone from Refantasio make the cut?
I mean, the main antagonist, I guess, but technically that's supposed to be you. Like there is, you know what I mean? Like that's how they set it up.
Is it a character? Is it a created character, or is it like a?
It's like no, it's just like a generic character, but it is strict. Like like you name them, that's their name throughout the whole thing. It'd just be like main character. Like it's nothing like that you couldn't, but because there being so many possibilities, it's hard to dictate. Like, are they do they pick? Are they truly a character when you are deciding what they are?
Oh, and by the way, in case you were born under a rock, there's probably going to be some spoilers. So if you see any of these games and you're like, I don't want spoilers, get the fuck out of here. Go.
Especially that banana game.
Go.
Watch out.
I was going to say, can we cut Banana? I think we put it up there as a joke. If Banana wins, it's going to be a slap in the face to everybody else. It's a
Only
stupid little
only
game
if you're
that little dumb people who see achievements for 1 million clicks are like, I have to get all those.
only if you're okay with me not putting any of the other RPG characters on there, because they're just to an extent. It's not so much like you're not. To me, it's not really truly feeling like I'm playing a role. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that character. At least with all the other games, I feel like maybe Yakuza you could technically argue, but it was so long ago I don't truly remember. And even then, technically, it's just I say just about the same characters as the not the sequel, but the prior one to it.
There's
It is the
the Yakuza.
yeah, like a dragon.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think the last one's called Yakuza. Like they did the Resident Evil Biohazard thing for the last one, which is always funny when companies do that. All right, we'll cut Banana. I'm just surprised no one from Refantazio makes the cut because enough people have been like, "Oh, Refantazio, this is the game."
The characters, the characters are great, but we also have them in so many other categories. I want to try like we don't have a lot like just as an example here, because more than likely they're going to get kicked. The liar bar animals, for example.
I do think the Liar Bear animals do end up eventually going, just because I think
Yes.
a lot of it goes into you're thinking of your friends when you think of these animals, because I still have this is one of those games where if you do the in-game chat, if you hold the button and talk, your character's mouth moves. And, and it's hilarious. Like there's stuff going on around you. At one point, our brother Matt, who was I think the Scooby Doo knockoff character is called like Slooby Doo or something like that, or Slooby Poo. I forget his exact name. I think it's like Scubby. I think it's Scubby.
I think it's Scubby. I think you're
It's
right
Scubby.
there.
And like Matt was sitting there, and like out of nowhere, the bear in the corner gets up, and you can see Matt's head turn because he's moving the camera, and his mouth starts moving. Like, sit the fuck down! And I think of that moment and laugh. I still laugh, and that's really memorable for that character.
Yeah, and even then, I want to give some of these other ones a chance, just because I mean, a lot of these are a majority of our list, are on a majority of our list, and I know a lot of them are going to sweep first, second, and third, probably for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, I want to give other games a chance. Not that I don't like the characters, I just think that the rest of them need a chance to be able to at least attempt to shine, have that moment in the spotlight.
So let's go down the list. I do think Pepper and Mint stay for now, and I'll sell you on them later. I just think those are my strongest contenders. How do you feel about Sargon?
Sargon definitely stays.
Sargon stays.
Sargon stays.
I had to do a little revisiting on the story because I haven't played the game since January. It was my first review of the year, my first or second review of the year, and I forgot a lot of shit happens to that man in that adventure. He again, hey, spoilers for The Lost Crown. He gets betrayed basically by his mentor. He's part of this elite group of warriors that are like protecting Persia, but Persia's getting ready to collapse. I think they've been like under siege for like 30 years at this point.
Yeah, they've been under 30-year decline, and the prince ends up being kidnapped
and moited.
Moited.
And
And moitered. Unalived.
Well, so the guy that kidnaps him, you go and he ends up being killed, but then it turns out the master manipulator behind everything was your mentor, and then he ends up tricking your entire squad into believing that you are behind it all. And so you end up fighting just a good chunk of your squad, and that makes up a good chunk of the boss fights. But he's fighting these guardians. He's collecting, I forget what the magical things are called. He's got to like get the favor of the 4 guardians to get the feathers. I forget the proper name of the feathers. And you're playing with time. It's Prince of Persia. You're playing with time.
And they do such a great job with the mechanics too. Like honestly, all in all, he is a great character, and the more and more abilities you get, and the more you dive deeper into the, it's not a temple technically. What would you say? Like it's a stronghold, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what is that? The It's the Citadel, right? They call it
Yeah,
the
I think it's a
Citadel.
citadel. Yeah, once you get to the citadel, like honestly, the more and more you explore, and the more and more you see what's going on, it just he opens up as a character, and he just develops so well.
So yeah, Sargon stays. Flock was a game I reviewed during the summer. This is the color. You've seen it. It's the colorful like adventure game where you're flying around on a bird, collecting animals around the wilderness. I have two characters here. So there's your bird, which you can. It's a character created bird, and the cool thing about this bird is there are different species of animals that you can attract or hunt, and you hunt them by having your bird have their call. So he learns all these different calls. Anytime you find a whistle, you play it, and then he learns it, and then that's what he uses to gather the birds, and it's just the cutest thing. And then the sheep, you get the sheep, and they help you, graze on a hill that a animal might be hiding on. And once they've grazed, you can get the animal. You can also take their wool, and there's a little animation for it in like the pause menu where it's like, "Do you want to collect the wool?" And it'll like wrap the wool in balls, and they all go, "Bah!" And it's the dumbest thing. The I don't think they stand like there's a bunch of other great characters here. I do think Flock will have its moment in the sun in another category, so I'm okay with cutting both of those. I just wanted to bring those up that those were both very charming this year, and
Bye.
more people should play Flock.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go. Bye.
Bye. Good bit, Josh.
Thank you.
Becky Brewster is from hashtag Blood. When was it? When did I play this? This is either the beginning of the summer or the end of the summer. Though now that I think about it, this would be a great Halloween game. Becky Brewster is a field hockey playing, vampire hunting child, and that's the sum of it. The thing that really stands out about Becky is that she's a Cartoon Network '90s cartoon. That's exactly what she is. She basically makes references to all these different '90s cartoons. I mean, the picture we have here, she's like screaming and going at someone with a field hockey stick. That's her the whole game. She's doing that the entire game. There's Yeah, I think she's a really fun character. I don't think there's any voice acting. I think she would be lifted by some voice acting because it's just it's a fun game. I do want to keep her though for now.
It's fine. We can keep going.
Uh, how do you feel about the Balatro Joker?
I at this point think it's more of a bit because let's be honest, it's a card, not so much a character.
True.
It was the same with there with Banana. Like, of course, we're gonna throw it in there. That's not saying Balatro isn't a good game. It's just there really isn't a character in Balatro. This is probably the closest thing to it.
It's so it's so infamous now though that when you see this image, you're like, oh, that's
I
Balatro.
hear it. I fucking hear the image every fucking time, and it just and I hear it, and I just hear the points racking up right now. And I'm like, God damn it, get out of my head.
I updated my Steam Deck last night because when we're done, I'm probably gonna play Balatro. But we can cut the Joker. There's just stronger characters that we have here. We talked about Liar's Animals. They can stay for now. Andrea and Red, I think they're like, if you cut one, you got to cut the other. But they're interesting because, I'm sorry, Andrea. Antea, I was combining names. Antea is a banisher, which is basically a person who goes out and banishes, for lack of a better word, the wandering souls. Banishes ghosts. This Banishers is from the same folks who did Jasant. They also, I believe, they're the what's the narrative game that everyone likes? Not Walking Dead. The one with the powers and like the professor's the bad guy. I'm blanking on it, but they
Power. Oh. There's. God damn it. I know what you're talking about now. I can't think of the fucking name. I was singing in my head.
I'm gonna look it up on.
I reviewed the remaster of it or the sequel.
The remaster. I thought you got the newest one.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why I said sequel afterwards. Like I couldn't remember.
So the
Um,
developers Don't Nod, and they did not Lost Records, their upcoming game. Life is Strange.
Life is Strange. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is, and it's. I mean, first of all, it's crazy that this game is out. It's crazy that this game came out because Jasant had just came out in November, October,
Yeah.
something like that. So this is a really fast turnaround. I think this was out in February or March. The good thing about this, the fun. I use fun, but it's not fun. Spoilers for Banishers, by the way, in case you want to get out of here. Antea dies. Antea dies in the opening hour of the game. You try to banish a ghost that is way too powerful. By the way, Red is like Antea's husband. He's also her like apprentice, and she dies. And Red sets out on an adventure to bring her back to life or banish her. And so that's the fascinating thing is that they're banishers, and what Red should do from the onset is like banish his wife. Like he is obligated as a banisher to banish her. But instead, you have the choice of, oh well, if I collect, you go out into the world and you help people with like their different ghost problems. So I remember there was one where a woman was being haunted by her husband, and I forget the exact details, but I think she was either cheating or like seeing like somebody else in the village. And so then at that point, you can either choose to banish her husband, who's the ghost, or you can choose to take her soul. And if you take enough souls from the living, that can help you bring Antea back at the end. And so you have a choice at the end of the game to either banish her or bring her back, and it's really fascinating because again, you have these characters who should abide by the law they've set for themselves by becoming banishers, and they can completely contradict that. They can be the biggest hypocrites. And honestly, it's up to Red at the end of the day. But and the game is fun too. Like Red, it plays a lot like trying to think. It's not a Bloodborne, but it plays sort of like that. And Red's got all these unique abilities. It's a lot of hacking and slashing, but then also Antea can hop in and do damage. You can switch the characters, and like Antea will do more damage against Ghost, I believe, if I remember correctly, since she is a ghost. I think they both stay for right now. Speaking of Ghost, though, I think I am okay with cutting Haunty. Haunty is from Haunty. It is a ghost that is basically in purgatory trying to find its way out. Haunty has a little angel friend. I was going into this, I was like, I want to keep Haunty, but also Haunty is better recognized in a category that we'll be doing in a few days here. So, and again, I didn't finish Haunty, so I think I would have a stronger connection with it if I had finished it. But no, it can Haunty can go. Haunty can go. Betty bye.
We're passing on Haunting.
We're passing. Oh, I see what you did there. That joke, not as good.
We'll get there. We'll get there. It's a 1-for-1 now. Okay.
I had to think about it. Cameron Kaz McLeary. I don't have a picture for him. I don't think there's an image of him in the game. He's from Still Wakes the Deep. Still Wakes the Deep is from, I think it's from China House is the studio. This is the narrative first-person horror adventure. It's very Lovecraftian. You were on a oil rig off of the shore of Scotland, I believe. Everybody's Scottish. The voice acting in this game is miraculous. I could honestly nominate a whole bunch of people from this game, but Kaz really goes all out. He's this rig man who, he left his family not on the greatest terms, and he's conflicted by that. He ran off, and now he's facing these Lovecraftian horrors as his fellow workers are being ripped apart and turned into these nightmares. At the center of it's a really good friendship that he has with the cook on the rig, who is like kind of like his his voice of reason. He's, hey man, you should. The friend whose name I'm forgetting is like, hey man, you should really make up with the family, do this, do that. Like he really guides him, and a lot of the game is you trying to get back to where that friend is so you can save him and escape together. And I know I've been doing spoilers, but I'm gonna try to avoid that one. It gets pretty sad. And then there's another friend on there as well, the one woman on the rig who I think is the standout character because of the through line, that some of the stuff she's going through as opposed to what Kaz is going through. I think everyone should go play Still Wakes the Deep. It's a really good horror game. Okay, with keeping Kaz for now. Girl from Children of the Sun is a really tragic character. She's a young girl who has these telekinetic powers. Her dad takes her hunting one day, and she goes to shoot a deer, and she finds out she can control the bullet, and she ends up shooting all 3 deer that were there. Her parents were members of a cult. Cult member gets her mom pregnant, angers the dad. The dad goes to strike out at the cult leader. Dad gets his leg shot. Daughter goes to attack the cult leader, gets her face slashed. The mom is like trying to get the cult leader off of the girl, and she gets shot in the head. And so this girl and her dad get locked in the shed. Spoilers, by the way, and a lot of traumatic stuff from this one. The girl wakes the girl wakes up one morning, finds her dad's taking his own life. So she takes the rifle that he used to do it and sets out to kill all the cult members. And yeah, that's the gist of the story. Just this really tragic character setting out and looking for vengeance. Tragic ending too. I won't get too into it, but I'm okay with cutting her, just because I have. There are other ones that I feel are stronger here. Josh, can you tell us about Titus and Space Marines?
Yes, I sure can. So Titus, full name Demetrius Titus. I think that's his full name. Demetrian Titus. I'm sorry, I have it written down over here.
How dare you?
So some of you, let me start with this. He's not new per se. He's new because Space Marines 2 became very popular very quickly. At the time, Helldivers 2 was very much in a decline because Sony pissed off a bunch of people with their login requirements, and at the same time, the developer wasn't listening a lot to the fans about balancing weapons, so they were getting upset and leaving, and they were looking for a new game. While Space Marines was coming around the corner saying, "Hey, look at my cool gameplay with all my bugs and stuff." People were, "Fuck yeah!" And then that's what everybody went to. So he actually was in the first Space Marines, but because it wasn't as big or familiar with people, I decided to bring him here because, yeah, he technically, in a sense, to a lot of people, he is new. This is a whole new thing. He is around 200 years old.
Looks great.
You heard me
Looks
right.
great for 200.
Yes. Well, it's the future. It's Warhammer. Warhammer doesn't make much sense. They have floating emperor gods.
Understatement of the year. Warhammer doesn't make much sense.
It makes sense if you're into it, but even then, I'm pretty sure the people who are like hardcore into it are like, yeah, none of it makes sense.
They're like, they're like, you don't have to worry about that. Just hop in.
Just think of Harry Potter on steroids.
Sure. So what stands out about Titus here?
He's very much a misunderstood character. From the beginning, he's basically the underdog of the story. Everybody doesn't trust him and his allegiance to his team or to his army. He had to work his way back up from being. He was originally captain. He got demoted. Had to work his way all the way back up to being a captain. And even then, he's on this new mission, and he still has people who are like, "Yeah, I don't fucking trust you. You're a piece of shit." So he's just constantly having to prove himself. I mean, that's all he does through the whole entire campaign is basically like overturn the tide of the war with the mission. And even at the end of the day, leading it to a sequel, he's still kind of like the underdog. People are still like, fuck this guy. He did okay, fine, yeah, he overturned the war in this one mission, but he's still a piece of shit. He still betrayed us and all this. It's like, no. Okay, calm down. No, he's an interesting character in the sense of everybody praises Warhammer for its action and its gameplay. As far as it's think of like 10 versus 1,000.
Is Titus like a strong silent type, or is he like a very gung ho like asshole?
I wouldn't say he's a very gung ho asshole. Is he
a Marcus Phoenix type?
I would say he's probably I would say a little more silenter version of Marcus Phoenix would be my opinion of him. He's still calm and actually. He's more of what's his name? The guy from Wolfenstein.
Blazkowicz?
Thank you, Blazkowicz. He's more like him, but in Warhammer universe.
Okay.
I would say.
Do you think he hangs?
No.
All right.
We have to calm down. And I think between the two that I have left up there, or three technically, I think Sargon is far better of a character. And I just the liar bar animals. Yes, you think of your friends with it, but it just you have so much fun. Plus, they I don't know if they just did it or if it's here coming soon. They're just releasing new animals.
Hmm. Oh yeah, so yeah, Stuart from Frostpunk 2 can go. I just think it's fun that so Stuart is he's the successor of, I forget the character from the first game, but the player character from the first game dies. Stuart takes over. Stuart puts like a democracy in place, and it's fun to be like, "Hey, Group A over here, if you guys help me push this through, I'll help you do this," and then you can just completely ignore that. Sure, people will be pissed, but you can kind of just fuck around with these different groups and like promise things and then go back on it. Just completely be like a political monster, and it's fun.
That sounds familiar.
Hmm. So I'm gonna take that off. So let's see who we have left here. We've got Pepper from Pepper Grinder, Mitt from Pepper Grinder, Sargon, Becky Brewster, Liar Bar Animals, Antea and Red from Banishers, and then Cameron, Kaz McLeary from Still Wakes the Deep. I'm okay with cutting Kaz as well. I really like it. I really like Still Wakes the Deep. I really think it's got some fun through lines about, worker type, just dangerous workplaces, and then also perception. Not only how you perceive yourself, but how you believe people perceive you. And it's fun, Lovecraftian horror. So go check out Still Wakes Deep if you haven't already. I believe that's on Game Pass. I guess I need to make an argument for Pepper and Mint here.
Yeah, we can't have both up there.
I think we can, though. I think we can. So here's, let me explain both of them, and then I have the sentence that I know will sell you on both of them. You'll hear it and you'll be like, "You fucking bastard!"
Lay it on me. What you got?
All right, so Pepper from Pepper Grinder. Pepper Grinder, if you don't know, is a 2D platformer where you have a drill and you're going through levels very fast. You're digging in the ground. You're like surfing on waves. You're doing all this different platforming. Very fun game. Very speed run heavy. Pepper, her ship lands on a mysterious island, and Mint and these, I forget what the horny guys are called, but they take her treasure. So Pepper sets out on an adventure to get it. Pepper is a spunky little motherfucker. So, she's not only like very hungry for her treasure, she's kind of cocky. So the game is the 2D art form. Like, I have pictures of them here, but you can't really see their faces or anything. You see like little eyeballs, maybe a little mouth. Going into a boss fight, what Pepper will do is she'll drop her drill, point at a guy, and go like this. And you can see it. And it's fucking awesome. As soon as I saw that, I was like, this bitch is motherfucking bad. I fucking love Pepper. Mint is like your secondary antagonist who's like, if you look in certain levels, you can kind of see her behind the scenes. So the second boss fight, you're fighting this giant worm. And if you look in the distance, you can see Mint on a boat with a bunch of other bad guys like watching. It's so fucking cool. And then when you get to Mint's fight, you're basically hopping from different salt trucks and hopping from different snowmobiles to like get to where her fight is, and she's on a truck following you, and then before your fight starts, her truck rams your truck and they blow up and you end up in a pit with her for the fight, which is great. Josh,
so you beat her Proto Man to her Mega Man.
No, not even. So you beat Mint. You get to the last level. The bad guy is like a big, scary looking version of these horny creatures. The little green guy right there that you see, bigger version of that, very muscular. This game is very like Donkey Kong Country coded. And if you play a little bit of it and you've played a little bit of Donkey Kong Country, you'll know immediately what I'm talking about. Between the different biomes, the way the music is implemented into the levels, and then just looking at the bad guys and then looking at the bad guys from Donkey Kong Country, you're like, oh shit, yeah. So Pepper gets to the final boss's lair. Mint is telling the boss what has happened with the help of the green guys. They're using like little signs to signify that Pepper's gone through all the different bad guys. That guy's pissed off with them all, so he does a snap power that like makes them all explode. Mint gets blown off the map, but you can kind of see her drill. You beat the guy. He has a final form, which is like a skeleton form. You beat him again, and whenever you beat a boss, the final hit has you like jamming on the right trigger and like really drilling into them. So you do that one time to his final form, and then you cross, and then Mint meets up with you, and you do it again, and then you guys do like an X to finish it. Okay, Pepper is Sonic, Mint is Knuckles. Josh, they're setting this up so perfectly. Like if they wanted to do a sequel that had Mint as the protagonist, they fucking could. There's so much attitude in this game, and I fucking love it.
You know what that means, though?
What?
That's 2 spots. We have to pick one more.
I mean, I would take if I had to cut one, I would cut Mint because Pepper's just fucking badass.
Well, here you decide. Do you want both or do you want one?
Okay, so did we say we're cutting Liar Bar animals?
Yes, we did say that.
Okay,
well,
so
we said we were gonna come back, but let's face it, they're gonna get cut.
They're not gonna stand up. They're not gonna stand up to it. So then that leaves us with, get out of here, Liar Bar animals. I already told you had to go. So then at the end of that leaves us with Pepper from Pepper Grinder, Mint from Pepper Grinder, Sargon from, I almost said Lord of the Rings, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Becky Brewster from Blood, and Antea and Red from Banishers. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have to cut 3. It's tough. Because I'd say we could cut Becky just because Becky has that 90s cartoon aesthetic, so that's why she's so strong with me. But I'd be okay with cutting her.
Okay.
Go play Blood. It's fun. It's a fun little game.
Now here comes the important question.
It's tough because if you cut Antea and Red are like a package, so I don't know.
But as a package, do they stand the test of time against Sargon?
I think if we cut Mint, kept Pepper, Sargon, and then just packaged Antea and Red,
yeah, I think that's business. Good. Yeah.
Because as much as I like Mint, like Pepper really sold me on Pepper. Just the first time I saw her do the throat slice, I was like, wait a minute, this little fucking cartoon just did a throat slice.
And you let your son play this game.
He loves it. It's so innocent. It's so innocent.
Yeah, this is just kids these days.
He doesn't know what that means. It's just like when you watch a Pixar movie, nobody knows. Like they'll make an adult joke and like the kids have no idea. They have no idea. All right, so we gotta get these in some kind of order, and the formatting here is all fucky because I think you did
I did columns.
You did, you son of a bitch.
Hey, got them all on there, didn't it?
It did.
Just uncolumn it.
I don't know how to do that. You do that for me. All right, so we have 3 left. We have Pepper, Sargon, and then Antea and Red are they're a tag team on this. So now we need to decide 1, 2, 3.
Honestly, as jokingly as this is set up, I kind of like the way it is because you have such passion for Pepper and you're able to bring in that passion for her so well that and plus you talked about it with Gus playing with him and stuff. I've honestly got it on my wish list. So I very much like to see Pepper. You've talked so well about her. So I'm willing to keep it at 1. I think we both agree that Sargon's a really good character. And the fact that Antea and Red need to be combined to be even on the list makes it seem like they should be third because it takes both of them to stay on.
You're making sound arguments, Josh. You're making very sound arguments.
I have my moments.
All right, so we're locked in.
Yeah.
Best new character in the 3 spot, we have Antea and Red from Banishers. At number 2, we have Sargon from The Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And then the number 1 spot, we have Pepper from Pepper Grinder. Hey, there we go. Look at that first category out of the way, Josh. Aren't you happy?
2 more to go.
And look, you contributed. You made a good argument. You made strong argument. And you say you hate this. You're really good at this. You're so good.
Okay. I mean, that was probably one of the no, I think that's like the second easiest. I think box art's honestly the easiest.
Box art's fun, just because we get to look at.
No, it is. That's what I'm saying. That it's easy. The hardest is Game of the Year because, honestly, just the numbers. Like since there's 10 of them, it's like fuck. God damn it. That was fun. Do you want to hop right on into the next one? To it. And I can actually start it off since I've got the notes up for Concord.
So here, let's all right, so next up is disappointment of the year. Lead us through the list, Josh.
Yeah. So you just read down the
Just
list.
read down the list. Give them the
All right.
nominations.
So we've got Concord, Tango Gameworks shutdown, all the gaming industry layoffs, Ubisoft, which we also outlined, Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed, Skull and Bones, you name it.
Awesome year for them.
Yep. Game Informer, E3 R die. I don't know why, but R die.
I just wanted to write it out that way. It's dead.
It's supposed to be is dead then, not R die.
I just wanted to be. I wanted to be internet quirky. Okay.
Okay. Rise of Gaming Chads, the Grums, How World Infringement, Nintendo Loves the Law, Nintendo Alarmo, Nintendo Museum Emulation. Nintendo had a great year as well. AI in Gaming, Web3 in Gaming, Flight Sim, Rough Takeoff. That's what you did there. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
Shut the fuck up. Like you haven't made like you haven't made a fucking typo.
I can fix my typos though, because I at least use Grammarly.
I used to. I don't have it anymore. Go ahead.
I don't either. I have the free version. Borderlands feature film, Sony login requirements, Last of Us still remastered, Helldivers 2 server issues, Homeworld 3, PS5 Pro, Foam Stars, Game Awards, no Switch 2 news, The First Descendant, Horizon Lego, and X Defiant. And we had a bonus one that I threw in the other day, which was the PS Portal launch. Josh is an idiot. It actually got released in November of 2023, so I removed it. But I wanted to let it be known that, hey guys, I make mistakes too. I just can't read.
He's just dumb. So right away, I think no matter what, Concord's making the top 3, right?
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ, they're making the top 3.
Concord is like locked in, so we have to narrow down to 2 more.
Should we just go and give the statistics real quick while I've got it up?
For what? For what?
So okay, they released August 23rd.
Okay.
Shutdown was September. I just had it. Where to go? September 3rd.
So not even 3 weeks. Not even.
So, and I'm not talking shutdown like, okay, we're going to come back and fix it, kind of like Multiverses. I'm talking, they straight up said, no, fucking get whatever copies are left on the shelves, take them back. Like,
get them
bring
out
them
of
back.
here.
Get them out of here. Like,
we don't.
The one game I wish I had bought when it was on sale for $10, because now if you go anywhere, it's like $90.
No, that's not. It's a lot lower than I thought it was going to be, but still, the fact that someone out there may be paying $90 for a copy of Concord, a game that does not work, drives me crazy.
Just because I want to. No, I'm going to eventually, because I've started my PS4 collection and PS3 collection. I'll have to do a PS5. I'd rather do the 90 now than 500 on the road.
You have Avengers, right? You have Avengers.
I do have Avengers. Yes.
That's unopened, right?
No, it was a used copy. I can find it. I can find an unopened copy though for like $10.
Yeah, man, you're gonna be fucking. You're gonna be dripped out with fucking games that don't exist anymore if you keep it up.
Hey, at that point, if that worked, hey, it'll be worth something in the future. It'll be worth the $900 or $90 I spend now.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, I think for sure Concord stays. I'm looking down here. No Switch 2 news. Yeah, it's disappointing, but I mean, it's fucking Nintendo. There's worse things Nintendo has done, so we can cut no Switch 2 news.
Okay, we're just going to start cutting them from what we know. I'm okay with that. Let's do Last of Us still remastered. Like, come on, we all know that's what Naughty Dog is going to do. Like,
right. I mean,
it's not so much.
When it popped up at the Game Awards, I was like, again? We're doing this again? I thought we already remastered The Last of Us Part 2. I thought we already did.
They just released it for the PC.
That's annoying. It's like, okay, you guys are trying to run the clock out here like shit. But at least they announced a new series as well.
Hey, they're trying to catch up with Bethesda for Skyrim.
Right,
how many versions can we have?
It's like, can we get the first Last of Us on Switch 2? Probably. Maybe.
We'll call it Switch, man. I don't know. They'll come up with some stupid name and we'll all shake our heads like, you fucking motherfuckers.
I'm also okay with cutting Homeworld 3. It came out. People either loved it or hated it. I think the multiplayer was rough, and then the single player was just okay. Which the multiplayer of an RTS being rough, there's nothing new there. I do love that every time a new RTS comes out, there's like a handful of people that are like, the RTS genre is back, and it's not back. It's never gonna be back. Let it go.
Did
Like,
you see? There's an article today. Sorry, go ahead.
same thing with Storm. I could put Stormgate on here, but I would just cut it anyway. But people are like, Stormgate's the RTS from folks who broke off from Blizzard. I think that's Blue Yeti Game or whatever they're called. And, Stormgate isn't even 1.0, and people are already tired of it. They're like, eh. RTS fans are just hard to please.
Anyway, someone in an article came out and basically said that gamers don't want to play RTSs anymore because it takes too much effort.
You know what? I was playing Iron Harvest with Gus, and I was like, even I had it on easy. I had it where I had all the resources so I could build mechs right away. I was like, man, this is a lot of fucking work. We played I think for a good 30 minutes, and you know what? I think it's a genre that just got replaced. People would rather play MOBAs, and that's okay. Yeah. That's all right. We don't.
Let's be honest. They're basically the same thing. It's just rather than controlling a whole army or multiple units, you just got the one.
Yeah. So Homeworld 3 can go. Foam Stars isn't dead yet. So yeah, it came out in February. I think Foam Stars was a trailer that played at the Game Awards last year. It's on PS4, PS5. It's still alive for right now, but knowing Square Enix, it'll be dead by the end of the year probably, or dead early next year.
It's not doing the numbers they thought it was going to. They were trying to come up with Sony's version of what's the other game? Help me out here.
Not Concord. Helldivers?
No. The Nintendo's Squid Game.
Splatoon. You said Sony. You said
Sony's.
You said Sony's version, but then you didn't tell me of what.
I should have clarified that.
You fucked me. You fucked me. Get in your cage.
Yeah, Splatoon. God damn it. Splatoon. Like, they were trying, and it was, smart thinking on their end, but let's be honest, there's a reason why people clamor to Splatoon.
It's good. Splatoon feels good to play. And very basic.
But it's also very appealing to all ages, where Foam Star is like,
they got anime girls. Don't anime girls appeal to all ages though? It's still alive, so I think it stays. And on a list of games that came and died, Foam Stars can stay for now, or can go away for now. Josh, Horizon of Lego. I didn't throw a fit when you put this on there, but I was like, was this really a failure, Josh, or is this just not for you?
I mean, that's fair. You know me, I like the Lego games. I've got a bunch of them on my Steam. I've got a couple copies for the PS4. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's already a big list. There's a bunch of big contenders. I think we can get rid of it. Same with First Descendant. Like, we can nitpick these things, but let's be honest. At the end of the day, we already have one of our top three, just right off the bat.
Horizon. So you know how like Horizon, the chuds on the internet are like, she's too manly. She's got too bulky of a face. Like she's got an even bulkier face in her Horizon Lego. She's blocky.
She's got whiskers.
She's too blocky of a Lego character. Chuds. Internet chuds. Horizon and First Descendant, goodbye. X Defiance, another one that it's dying, right? Or it's getting ready to be dead, right?
It's getting ready. It survived longer than Concord. It survived longer than Suicide Squad. I mean, technically, I think we can get rid of it. I say we can get rid of it technically.
Yeah, because we already got Ubisoft covered up top. We could add it up top if we wanted to. Yeah, Flight Sim Rough Takeoff. The game launched rough. People couldn't even get into the game. I did a review. I did a review for Rongo that was like that wasn't even about the game, and people were pissed at me. It's like I'm just making a joke. Fuck you. Fuck you. Get out of the comments.
I'm doing what they told me.
All right, Flight Sim Rough Takeoff. I mean, name me a Microsoft game in the last 10 years. Didn't that bit of a rough takeoff? I mean, come on, man. At least I mean, it's a big game. They're doing a lot. They'll get it to where it needs to be. Still sucks that games come out like that, but I mean, it's not going to go away, right?
Never.
Flight Sim, you are clear for getting the fuck out of here.
Ooh, it's getting a little harder.
Yeah. All right, let me run down the list here and see what we've got left. We've got Concord, we got Tango Gameworks shut down, layoffs, Ubisoft / Star Wars / Assassin's Creed / Skull of Bones / X Defiant, Game Informer shutting down, E3 dying, being officially dead, the rise of gaming chads or chuds as like Grums, Power World infringement, Nintendo loves the law, Nintendo Alarmo, Nintendo Museum emulation, AI in gaming, Web3 in gaming, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Borderlands feature film, Sony login requirements, Helldivers 2 server issues, PS5 Pro, and the Game Awards.
Helldivers 2 server issues. In the grand scheme of things, it's common nowadays for new releases to come out and have lots of server issues because how can you...
They also had no idea how popular they're going to. They had no idea they were going to be that popular. So I think, as disappointing as that is, that was really cool for them to see that success, and they did bounce back pretty quick.
Yeah, and then next led into the Sony login requirements and all that jazz. So I think we can go ahead and get rid of their server issues because
all right,
they fixed it.
I'm gonna say we can cut the Nintendo Alarmo. Just because the disappointment of that just comes from like Nintendo announcing everything but the Nintendo Switch 2. It's like, oh, big announcement. We have an alarm clock. It's like, fuck you. Fuck you, man.
I think we could also get rid of Rise of the Gaming Chads.
Yeah, they've been around. Gamergate's 10 this year, so the gamer chads have been around.
They're just a little bit louder than normal, or a little bit more convenient, I guess, technically.
Yeah, Gamergate 2 kind of came and went, thank God. So I mean let's move on and not give them any more time than they've already gotten. I feel like we can combine Power World infringement and Nintendo loves the law. I don't think people were disappointed by Power World getting hit with the infringement suit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think that it's not so much everybody knew Nintendo was going to go after him. That was like without a doubt. It's the patents that they allegedly have where it's like, what?
But so it's the throwing stuff at things to catch them, right?
That is one of them. That is one of the patents that they have.
Let's keep those for now. I do.
Well, get rid of Nintendo loves law, but it's basically Power World infringement.
Yeah, tomato.
Yeah.
E3 dying. I mean, it's basically been on that last foot for a while. We haven't had a proper E3 since 2019.
Yeah, and even then, I think that one was
pretty sad.
Best. I think we can throw Game Informer in there as well.
I think we can keep Game Informer because it's
really?
like it's the last bastion. It's like one. Was it the last gaming PC in print?
No, I thought there was more.
Or gaming magazine. I mean, who else? PC gaming, I guess, still prints.
I think Microsoft still prints theirs.
Microsoft doesn't have a gaming magazine. They have that's. Yeah, but I'm talking like not owned by someone who's like all nines for the Xbox stuff.
You're talking more third party independent.
Yeah. And I know calling Game Informer independent is weird because they were owned by GameStop, but
but GameStop. No, you'll get mad at me for making that comment. I won't.
What about GameStop?
You know exactly where I was going with it.
What are you gonna say? I have no idea.
People buy their reviews.
Nobody does that.
See,
nobody
that's why
does
that's
that.
And that's why
nobody fucking does that.
And that's why I didn't say it.
No, nobody. I'll tell you why nobody does that. And you know why? Nobody fucking does that. No one does it. It doesn't happen. And if it does happen, they're bad reviewers. Are you selling reviews, Josh? Are you selling your reviews, Josh? Are you doing it? Is it you? Were you the one?
So we're gonna go and move on. This is why I didn't want to say it, because
Nobody does that.
Nick's on this little tangent that we've had multiple times.
All they do is delay your review copy. That's all.
So
If they don't think they're gonna get a good review from you, they're like, we'll give it to you 3 weeks after it's out, whatever. Or you
I
can
think
buy
we
it.
can get rid of the Nintendo Museum emulation as well. As shitty as Nintendo is for going after people for emulations and ROMs, just to go ahead and basically do the same exact thing in their museum. It's shitty.
Nintendo's a bunch of hypocrites.
They're assholes. No, they're not hypocrites. They're assholes.
They're hypocrites.
They're assholes.
The Borderlands movie bombed. It fucking bombed. Like it bombed, dude. But I don't think anyone was like really surprised that it bombed, right?
No, I think once you saw the cast, you probably immediately went,
yeah, reshoot after reshoot after reshoot on this. You had writers not wanting to put their name on it. I think Craig Mason did a little bit of it and took his fucking name off of it, which is saying a lot because Craig Mason has his name on 2 of the Scary movies, Scary Movie 3 and 4. What else about this? Only made 33 million, production budget of 110 to 120. I think it sucks, but I think it can go.
Yeah. Now, I asked this just because I don't know if we talked about it when we put it on the list. The Game Awards. Is there a specific reason you put that on there?
Just how bad it sucked. The award show sucked. Like it was an award show with no emphasis on the awards. It was all everything. Like it was all trailer. Hey, we're gonna do like a speed run of 4 awards. And the thing that drove me crazy is I was reading like reviews of the show from like writers I respect or like different sites that I usually read. And they liked it. They liked the format. And I'm like, no, this sucks. This sucks so bad. I hated this.
I know I read the article about Wukong's director, CEO, something like whoever. I can't remember his exact title, but he was like basically like, I wrote my my awards review or speech like 2 years ago, and I thought for sure we were going to win something, and I was just disappointed that we didn't. But Astrobot won. I'm like, I get it that you're disappointed because you're a top contender, but at the same time, I'm like.
And his reasoning was like the sales, like, well, we got the sales numbers, yada yada yada.
Yeah, but he was very.
Sales don't mean fucking dick, dude. Barbie made fucking what, $1 billion? I don't know how much Barbie made. Barbie's not winning Best Picture. Get the fuck over it, dude.
No, like, and it's like then, but it's a good question that he brings up, and I'm like, actually, that is a good question. What dictates what is the grading, like how do we determine that actual
the votes? It's the votes.
No, I get that, but in a sense of like, if you're going to make an argument and it needs to be logical,
it's an award show. It's a popularity contest, right. And guess what? Just because you made $1 billion doesn't mean shit. Sure, there's the open vote for the general public, but guess what? The amount of people who buy your game, you know how many of them are actually going to go vote? Maybe 10% if you're lucky. Like, buying doesn't turn into a vote.
No, and then but what's the word I'm looking for here? So, yeah, you're right. Like, your sales aren't going to matter. But was Astrobot that popular that it deserved the Game of the Year, or like did people just clamor to it so much because everything else that was thrown at them was just already seen and done?
I'll tell you why Astro. You know what it is? 2 things, and then we can get back to disappointment of the year. The Game of the Year award was going to come down to 2 games. It was going to come down to Astrobot, and it was going to come down to Balatro.
Yep.
The rest of those games, it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to fucking happen. People were bitching about the Elden Tree DLC being nominated. I mean, only a portion of people play any DLC that's released, so that automatically in my head wasn't going to win. Who else was nominated? Wukong. Wukong came out back in July. Was that June or July? Earlier.
I think it was June.
Earlier in the summer. So, I mean, first of all, you're facing Astrobot that's going to have recency bias. Wukong came out, and you had the chuds wanting to try and make it a game where they were making, I don't even know what the argument was, that the media wasn't covering it because it was released by a studio in Japan or backed by China,
China.
backed by China. The way you said it. Just kidding.
Jeez, I did not emphasize
You
China.
China. No. So yeah, you had folks wanting to make it a political thing, and at the end of the day, folks are just so fucking tired of the arguments. Is it woke? Is it based? Who gives a shit? You look at something like Astrobot, and it's like, no, this is just a fucking platformer, simple game. That's why Balatro is also really well loved, because it's just I can sit on the toilet for 4 hours on my Steam Deck and play Balatro and not think about anything.
So you think this year the push for like, as far as not relevancy, but what really moved the industry was that, yeah, you go back to the basics and they can be just as good as some of these AAA tile games that can take 5, 10, 15 years to develop.
It was just a matter of Astrobot was recent.
Right.
Astrobot wasn't making people argue about bullshit.
So do you think if Balatro had come out about the same time as Astrobot, do you think it would be a different story, or do you think Astrobot still would have won?
I think Astrobot still wins. Balatro came out at the right time. Maybe if it came out a little later, it might have had a little more steam going into it. No pun intended. It's just a smaller game. A smaller game's going to have to, ramp. A smaller game has to find that perfect window and then ramp up the popularity. Balatro, it's kind of like Baby Reindeer. Baby Reindeer won a lot of awards last year, which is it's a Netflix show. Very, I don't want to say popular because I don't think it's charted on Nielsen, but it was very well regarded on a critic, on the critic side of things, which I think is what was going on with Balatro. Like, very well regarded by the critics. It may have found its audience thanks to all those critics really, like, championing it, and like really like going up to the mountaintops and be like, Balatro. But when you have a smaller game like that, it was only on Steam initially, right? It
Yeah,
eventually made the hop to everything else. But
I have to get a physical copy for the PS5.
yeah, that's part of the battle, is like, just because we're seeing just because you're just like Wukong didn't win and it had the most purchases, like Balatro, just because it has the most well-renowned reviews, it has all these critics loving it and like saying all these nice things about it, doesn't mean it's going to win. It was just a perfect storm for Astrobot to win, and you know what? I'm glad it fucking won. It's about time. Just a simple fucking no bullshit, no credit card, no bullshit is what Astrobot's fucking slogan should have said.
Now here comes my next question about it. Since we're talking Astrobot, I just want to do it really quick.
Yeah.
Is it worth the $70 in your opinion?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
the PS5 doesn't have enough games for Astrobot not to be worth the $70.
I only ask that because if you're comparing it to Balatro was what, 15, 20?
15 or 20, something like that.
Yeah. So it's like, and you get way more playability with Balatro than you would with Astrobot. Astrobot eventually ends. Balatro, it could be argued you could play forever.
People forget platformers have a replayability because they're easy to share. They're easy to, like,
That's true.
Like, you're like, oh, fucking Spyro. Like, we still talk about Spyro. We still talk about Crash Bandicoot. Those games are very easy to share because you're not learning all these different mechanics. You're fucking jumping. You're fucking collecting things. You're fucking playing levels that remind you of like God of War and all this other Sony bullshit. I think people underestimate the replayability of platformers like that.
That's right. Okay, we go back to the disappointment of the year. But Game Awards in general, we've got a ton on here. Yes, they were disappointing, but I would argue it's not going to be a strong case for a final, even top 5.
Yeah, you're right. We can cut Game Awards.
And I think I'm going to go ahead and throw in PS5 Pro on there even. Sales wise, it didn't do as well as Sony thought, but in the consumer's defense, not only is it $700, but they've done every comparison of all the huge games that have been released on the console. So like Jedi Survivor, they did Silent Hill 2. I mean, you name it, every big game, Helldivers 2, they did a comparison. They did, if it was on the PS4, they pulled the PS4 Pro one. Then they did PS5, and then they did the PS5 Pro. There were some cases that it only performed 5% better. And in other cases, the original PS5 and sometimes the PS4 Pro actually perform better.
There's just no point to the PS5 Pro.
No,
You can barely put out a game on PS5 proper, and maybe before you put out like a midlife before you put out like a midlife update to a console, maybe I don't know, put out software for the fucking console.
not only that, but we did get one piece of goodness that came out of the PS5 Pro, and the scalpers got fucking scalped. Like
It does
they
feel good.
bought, and then they have to sell at a loss. It just feels so good to see that happen.
I do think we've reached a point with console gaming where ju- just the graphical updates or the processing speed or whatever is the bell and whistle of that console is not going to move it anymore.
No, I think
Especially when software is like few and far between. I mean, fuck, that fucking college football game was like probably the best seller of the year, right? And
I think so. Yeah.
it's crazy because where are the exclusives, Sony? Where are they?
I so I think when it comes to consoles and their midlife crisis that they have for their updates, I don't think they can justify bringing a whole new console and throwing in like a letter or a number or like a pro in there. I legitimately think it's going to end up becoming like a PC where they're going to have some like inner swappable parts.
I mean, and if you look back last gen, PS4 and Xbox One, they waited. I think they were still putting out software semi regularly. Like it had slowed down compared to the 360 PS3 era, but
Mm-hmm.
games were still coming out. And now it feels like what we get like one or two major releases per console a year.
If
And now
that.
it's like, how are you? What are you doing here? What are we doing?
I mean, I legitimately only have my consoles because of exclusives, and even then, Xbox I can pretty much get it day one on PC. If not, they have it
Mm-hmm.
on Game Pass for PC. PS5, they don't make enough for me to go. Like, I think legitimately the only reason I got it was for my JRPGs, and even then, like, Rebirth is already on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Seven remakes are, I mean, there are all these games that I'm like, oh, I got it to PS5 for it. They're already on Steam, and it's like, oh shit, what was the purpose of me buying it? Like at first they weren't, but I'm like, what is the purpose of me buying this PS5?
Right, you're buying it to be the first to play it, and that's about it.
Right.
These days, you're not
No, don't
really.
get me wrong. I still like it. I do. But it's like, is it really like the Pro? Is it really worth the $700? No, it's
So on the Sony front, what's more disappointing, the Pro or the login requirements for the PC games?
honestly, I'm gonna go with the login requirements because anybody can grab a Pro. Not everybody can create a Sony login because it's not just the fact that you have to sign in to play a single player game. There are a ton of countries out there that legally cannot make a login. So those games that they want to play like everybody else, they can't even touch them.
Yeah, I thought that was a hilarious bit I saw when reading up on this, and I do remember I think it was the Helldivers 2 game director or whoever the guy was, like arguing, arguing that like, hey, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You guys need to don't come at me, come at Sony.
And even then, like to have the fans go, well, wait, we already bought this game. We were told we don't need a requirement, but now we do. How are we supposed to play it? We're just gonna refund you.
Yeah, yeah. If you're going to require login, you have to say that stuff up front. Someone has to.
Yeah, yeah. Like it honestly needs to be like on the title almost. Like I'm sorry, that to me that is false advertising.
I mean, someone just has to step in and be like, "Hey, dudes, like, come on, this is no." Like and I get it when you're signing with the publisher, like you're kind of at their mercy. But when you have shit like that killing your player base basically, and like like stomping out growth at its base, like that's not good for anybody. Like you really have to, and then to find out you have to do that login for what was it? Was what one of the Horizons came out on PC, right? And they required it, or was it God of War? One
Yeah,
of them.
got both of them, God of War and Horizon.
It's just like, what are we doing here? Come on. I
It
mean,
just
it's good that we don't have at least you don't have like a launcher that's going to open when I boot this up. But don't make me sign in. I'm already
well,
signed
that's
into
true.
Steam. Let me
That's
let me connect my Sony login to my Steam, so then if I do play a Sony game, you've already got it, or something like that.
well, that's just it. What about the people who don't, who
Right? Like
can't legally?
let that be an option where like if I have the login and I'm logged in on Steam, I get like some bonus or something. Like make it an extra thing. Don't make it like a roadblock.
No, I agree 100%. it's very baffling, especially with them trying to go like, well, we don't know what to do to get players. Maybe don't be a dumbass and do shit like this where it's going to force people to either not be able to play or say, well, why would I why would I want to sign it? I'm sorry, I already do it with Microsoft games, but theirs makes sense. They're not like, oh, you can't make a login here. Like, no, you can make a login wherever you want. You can tie it to your Steam account right off the bat, so you don't have to log in. It's just already tied there. We'll log in directly that way. Great,
Can
makes
I
sense.
can I can I tell you how to get players? Can I tell you? Can I? It's it's gonna piss you off.
Don't make login requirements.
No. Here's what you do: you put games out and you support them for longer than 2 weeks. You have a long-term plan. Stop thinking about fucking short-term profits and start thinking fucking long-term, motherfuckers. So I'm going to cut PS5 Pro. I'm also looking at AI in gaming and Web3 in gaming. I'm fucking done with them.
I mean, crypto's everywhere. We're not going to get rid of it anytime soon. And AI, same thing. It's not just the gaming industry; it is everywhere. I saw it in the insurance world. I currently see it in the credit card world. I'm telling you, it unfortunately is something we all have to deal with in every single industry. All we can do is say fuck the machines,
It,
because this is how Terminator started.
well, and it's yet another industry that Elon thinks he can put his nose in and like fix.
How much you want to bet he tries to buy Ubisoft?
I wouldn't put it past. And he's, you know what? He's gonna throw some fucking crazy number out like he did with Twitter, and Ubisoft like C-suite's gonna be like, oh no, yes, get over here. No, you said 69 420 billion. Come on, man. I'm deleting it because the less we talk about them, the better. They're there. They're here to stay. Hopefully, they all die a quick and painful death. I hope, but not likely. So let's go down the list of what we got left. Concord, Tango Gameworks shut down, layoffs, Ubisoft, Star Wars, Assassin's Creed, Skull and Bones, basically the whole existence of that fucking publisher. Game Informer, Pal World infringement, Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, and Sony login requirements. Tango Gameworks, as shitty as it was and Nintendo shut them down, they did get saved. Now, they were saved by the same publisher that's put out your favorite Callisto Protocol. And that studio is no longer around. So, it's shaky on if they're going to be a long-term thing, but they're alive. They live to fight another day. So I'm going to take Tango Gameworks off. Josh really loves Callisto Protocol, by the way, in case you're wondering.
I love it except for the DLC.
Dude, I can't. How are you going to make everything a fucking dream? Callisto Protocol, spoilers, I guess.
I hope to God, I really do. I hope that someone just makes that as like it's a nightmare or something. I hope to God. Or make another DLC or we see him escape. Something.
So I think Ubisoft stands for now, just because at the beginning of the year when they put out Prince of Persia, we were like, wait a minute.
Ubisoft?
Did they just put out a good game? Hold on. Now, of course they fucking locked it behind Uplay or whatever the fuck it's called.
For a hot minute they did, yeah.
For a hot minute, but still, they fucking put out a good game. It was like, wait a minute, is this their year? Is this going to be their year? X Defiant came out and it wasn't doing bad. It was doing pretty okay at first.
Everything else.
And then, some Switch hit. I want to say it was around April or May. And just everything shit the bed. Everything shit the fucking bed.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Skull and Bones, someone could argue that Ubisoft was going to put out one shitty game. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's their one. I'll give you that. But then they gave us Star Wars Outlaws. And I'm like,
Outlaws doesn't seem like it's bad. It seems like what they did with Outlaws was just mismanaged its release by locking it behind Uplay. And then, they end up coming back and be like, hey, you know what? We have to save Outlaws, so we're pushing back Assassin's Creed. And it's that bad when they're pushing back their tent pole. They're like, we got to get this other thing fucking figured out
because
before we...
because they got Disney on their ass, who's like, you motherfuckers. Am I gonna have to push all my shit over to who did Jedi Survivor? That's
Respawn over there with the EA.
Do we need to push all our shit over to Respawn? Or they? Because let's face it, Respawn's done a great job with the IP.
Yeah, but they only have it because of EA, and EA was shitting the bed with the property.
Well, yeah, but that's why they specifically gave it to Respawn to do. Like
They gave it to
the
Respawn, but EA had shit the bed with Battlefront, and
Battlefront
so
2.
Battlefront 2
Yeah.
is what eventually led to other places being like, I think the EA's like um, exclusivity had ended, and like as soon as it did, I think Ubisoft had already had Outlaws basically started. I remember something dropped almost immediately after they lost that exclusivity. I think Ubisoft stays for now. Sony login stays for now. I think the Pal World infringement can go. Like we saw it as soon as that game came out. We knew it was we knew it was going to happen.
So, do you want to hear what the other patent was?
What was the other patent?
The ability to ride on the back of your monsters.
Oh man, they better not play some game called Monster Hunter
Or Red Dead Redemption.
or just any game in general where you're riding
Yeah.
monsters. I believe I played shit. Well, they had Mario on Yoshi. Have any? They better hit up Activision because Crash Bandicoot's been riding other creatures for fucking 20, 30 years now.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, the ball mechanic. Okay, you got me there. Like, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but really, riding on the back, or flying, or whatever, mounting on the back of a beast. Hello, that has been honestly. How can you patent that?
So do we want to cut Pal World?
Yeah, cut Pal World.
Goodbye, Pal World.
I feel for them because Nintendo's a bunch of assholes, and they are basically giving what players kind of want, which was Pokemon and slavery.
But we knew Nintendo were assholes before the year.
Oh yeah, no, they honestly, I don't think Nintendo's in it to make games anymore. They're in it to just watch the world burn.
I wouldn't say that about Nintendo. Nintendo's like the one console maker still putting out games on a regular basis.
I guess
you hate me, but you know I'm right.
I mean, you're right, but at the same time, fuck Nintendo.
Fuck them all. So we've got Concord, layoffs, Ubisoft, Game Informer, Suicide Squad, Sony login requirements. This is tough. So we got to whittle this down to 3. We know Concord's staying, so we got to cut 3 of these.
I think we can get rid of Suicide Squad.
I do too, because that one was dead on arrival. We knew it was going to be bad. As soon as
it was dead before arrival, like we literally saw it was like 15 minutes behind, and we said, "You're dead. There's no way."
This was the first game I ever saw like negative previews being written. Not negative reviews, negative previews that were like, I don't know. I don't know about this.
I remember seeing the preview trailer and I went, who the fuck said, yeah, let's release this? It looked bad.
It
like, looks so bad.
It's Destiny 10 years later and like not as well polished.
I mean, I get what they were trying to do with it. I can appreciate the story. But this is the one time where I'm like, I'm sorry, you have to have good enough gameplay for your story to be credible. And I'm sorry, the gameplay was so terrible.
So are we killing the Suicide Squad?
They killed themselves.
They killed themselves.
They unalived themselves.
I tell you, they're dead. All right, we got 5. Concord, layoffs, Ubisoft, Game Informer, and Sony. The layoffs, like, I'm looking at this list. Almost 15,000 layoffs for the year.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And look, Warner Brothers Montreal just laid people off 5 days. How the fuck are you going to lay people off 2 weeks before Christmas? What kind of Scrooge... What Scrooge shit is that?
Are you surprised by that, though? Let me hear. So, everybody here. So, let's just say November. November is probably the shittiest time you could probably hear something because you're getting ready for the holidays, right? I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 companies decided, you know what? We're going to be bitter assholes, and we're going to go and let you go right before not only the new year, but before the holidays. So now you can't get your children anything nice or have a nice Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, shit. King Art Games laid 10 people off.
And so you might go, yeah, and some of you might go, 10 people, that's nothing. That's 10 people who...
That's a small team.
But, yeah, And it's not only a small team, but it's people who dedicated their time and their craft to whatever they were working on, and then being told, "Yeah, go fuck yourself."
Yeah, get out of here. Get on, go
As
on, get.
somebody, as somebody who was fired and let go, fuck you. Seriously, that is. I'm sorry if it's like you literally shit the bed and you deserve to be let go. Yeah, you deserve to be let go. But for somebody who spent all their time in there and gave everything, gave 110%, and for some douche in a suit to come in and go, yeah, we didn't make the numbers we expected. We're gonna let you go.
It's not even a douche in a suit. They what's the meme? It's who's Catwoman? Who played Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises?
Oh,
Anne
Anne
Hathaway.
Hathaway.
The HR Anne Hathaway meme where it's like the POV of you getting ready to be fired by HR and she's smiling in a Zoom call.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not even the suit. It's someone. It's a sock puppet from HR. Yeah, it sucks because you hear fucking revenue is like record high revenue, and then like a week later or a week before that even they'll be like, we're firing 1,900 people, we're firing this many people, and you're like, okay, like I thought things were good. What the fuck is this? What are we doing here? Things don't seem that good. I mean, and it's something. I mean, I don't think there was a month that went by where like 100 or so people lost their jobs. I mean, I think it was the worst in January, but now that I'm looking here at November, like hell, what is this? NC Soft fired around 500 people, 174.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I think layoffs does stay. So we have layoffs in Concord. So then we have between Ubisoft, Game Informer closing, and Sony login requirements. I do think we can cut Game Informer because as sad as it is to see the last true gaming magazine that's, and I'm air quoting for those listening, independent for those who believe that the reviews are bought. The writing was on the wall that print wasn't long for this world. So I do think this can go. So then, Josh, looking at this, does Sony login stay or does Ubisoft stay?
Let me ask you this. Ubisoft the past 4 years, 5 years. Have they gotten better over time, worse over time, fluctuated? What in your opinion?
They've gotten stale. I don't think they've gotten better or worse. They've just gotten stale. I think it's the games that have come out all follow that Far Cry, Assassin's Creed. Like, you see all these blips, you can do all these blips on this map, and people don't want that. I think if we learned anything from Breath of the Wild in 2017, people want to discover stuff on their own, and like it's just like Fortnite. The reason Fortnite has longevity is because every game like feels like a different game. Do you get what I'm saying?
I
Every
get
match feels
exactly
like a
what you're
different
saying.
game.
Yeah. No, I get it.
And that's the same thing that Breath of the Wild did. It was like it wasn't bombarding you with all these different things. You had a map, you could mark the map, and you could, oh hey, I went to this temple and this thing was here and I fought it. And someone could be like, I've played for 100 hours. I've never even seen that thing you're talking about. And I think that's what's so disappointing about Ubisoft is that you can kind of see them dabbling in that a little bit with Prince of Persia because they have a Metroidvania that, as far as I know and as far as I can remember, is the first Metroidvania that lets you mark your map and take pictures and be like, okay, this is here, so I know I need to come back here. And it was really, really innovative compared to what other Metroidvanias were doing this past year. And then X Defiant was, yes, it was their play on Valorant or whatever hero shooters are out there. Like everyone was doing it, so they were going to do it as well. That I always thought X Defiant was weird though because it feels like Rainbow Six Siege is like their go-to competitive shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's just gotten too old at this point. I mean, the game is eight years old at this point. 8 years old.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But it did feel like Ubisoft was coming in hot back in January, and then just they fucking, when a plane starts to land and then it bounces back up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. I thought it was going to be a smooth landing, and then they bounced back up, and then there was a goose in the fucking runway, so they had to jet back up into the air, and then they crashed into. I almost said a tower, not a tower.
A control tower.
They crash in the control tower. But is the Sony login more disappointing?
See, I do think it is only because Sony, they're starting to recently start to like this year and last year, I would say for sure, starting to push like the boundaries of like, what can we do to just piss people off more and more, make more money? Where Ubisoft's been kind of like you said, stales. Like it's Ubisoft's almost on par for what they've been known to do the past few years. I'm like, it. I'm not. I was more surprised by how well Prince of Persia was and how much I loved it compared to how shitty everything else was. Where it's like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. This is par par scoring Ubisoft. Like they're gonna just keep shitting the bed until there's a huge shakeup. Sony, on the other hand, with the whole login requirements, the PS5 Pro, the PS Portal, it's they've slowly but surely started going downhill.
Sony has proven between the PS5 and the PS3, Sony has proven that they can't play with the lead. Like
Mm-hmm.
if they have the lead, the next console generation, they're guaranteed to do some shit that's fucking stupid. And don't get me wrong, PS4 had some stupid shit in there, but they got the lead back somehow. They got the lead back because Microsoft was like caught sleeping at the wheel with Xbox One and all the DRM shit and bullshit.
Yep.
It's just funny to watch. It's funny to watch Microsoft and Sony volley back and forth with bad calls, and now we're kind of at a point where they're both constantly making bad calls. So it's kind of cute. It's kind of fun to watch. I'm okay with keeping Sony Logan if you are.
I am as well. Yeah, Ubisoft, like I said, it's the same shit, different year. That's all it is at this point.
So then, is this our order? Because this kind of seems like a solid order. Concord, layoffs, and Sony login. Or do we do layoffs above Concord? I think we do layoffs above Concord to let Sony fucking piss and wallow down in second and third. Because those are both Sony. Those are both Sony.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Because I was thinking about it, like, from a money perspective, like, yeah, I mean, could you argue that Concord was more expensive than the layoffs? But it's like that's a lot of math to do, and people's lives are involved. That's already very disappointing, and it's not just one or two companies; it's several.
We're not doing the math here. There's no math to this show. So hey, disappointment of the year. We had a long list, but we got through it. So in the third spot, we've got the Sony login requirements for their PC ports. We've got the release and downfall of Concord in less than 3 weeks. And then we've got the layoff scene across the gaming industry, which is right around 15,000 for the year. Really disappointing given how good 2023 was and how good the numbers were, apparently. But, you know, that's what happens when everybody overhires during COVID. So here we are. Really good list, Josh. Good job. Look at you go. Look at you go. Look, you were worried and you've already dominated all these two categories.
It took us over an hour.
Let's just do all 10 tonight. Let's do all 10. We're fucking doing all 10 tonight.
Let's calm down there. Let's go down. Yeah, let's do the next one. The next, not only going to be, I believe, very fast, but very easy for me. Which, for everybody who wasn't paying attention earlier, is the best comic series Nick read this year.
Well, Josh, you say it's going to be easy for you, but you have to ask some questions.
I've got my questions ready, and I'm gonna go down this list for us, and I'm gonna ask you the questions. Okay.
Well, here, give us the list.
Yeah,
so let me give you the context, and you can go down the list. So,
all right, go ahead.
If you missed it at the top of the show, I got into comic books back in February. I went from 0 comic books to almost 600 behind me. And if you're like, Nick, you're in financial ruins. How could this happen? Let me tell you, I bought a house this year too. So yes, I am in financial ruins, but the comic books were paid for by all of the pieces I wrote for hard drive. So we are good. All right, Josh. So going down the list, best comic series Nick read this year. Go ahead and read down the list.
Yes, we've got Invincible. We've got Radiant Black. We've got Rogue Sun. We have No One. We have Saga. The Deviant. Something is Killing the Children. Department of Truth. Descender. Irredeemable. Ice Cream Man. Local Man. And The Sacrificers.
And I'm sure there are a few more I could add to this list, but these were the ones that came to mind. Just looking at this, I mean, Invincible is staying. Invincible, I read
Uh,
all 144 issues. I am now going to be that insufferable prick every time there's a new series. Be like, oh man, you guys don't know what you're in for, man. This is going to be a good season. This is going to be a good fucking season, man. You're in for a good one. You're in for a good one, bro. I'm that
is that what
asshole
you
now.
is that what you're gonna say? Is it this season we're supposed to see the one scene?
No, that'll be towards the end.
Is it?
That'll probably be season 5 or season 6. Are we talking about Mark with Anissa?
Yes.
Yeah, that'll
I
probably
thought
be
it
like
was
season
like right
6.
before. I thought it was right before they go into war.
It's after the war because all the mm, mm,
Okay.
there you
Okay.
go.
No, that makes sense.
No, this season, the third season is gonna be really good because there's just this big in video game speak. There's a big boss enemy that everyone really loves from the comics that's going to be in it. There's also a big conflict from the comics that everybody really loves, and I think it's I mean fucking what is that Kirkman? Kirkman's
Yeah.
been talking about it, and he's really selling me on it. So I think it'll be a good season. There's no break this season either, so that'll be nice. Uh, Radiant Black is probably the first major series I picked up. Josh, this is the one I gave you the trade paperbacks that you didn't read. That you didn't read, by the way. You didn't read them.
I was trying to be. I wasn't trying to be rude and hold the whole time. It's a collector's item. I've got them all on my phone. I just haven't had a chance to read them.
You're more likely to read a physical copy. It's just scientifically proven. No, so Radiant Black. I think its popularity, a lot of it can be thanked for Invincible, just because people, not that Invincible's over. It ended in 2018. People are looking for what's next, and it's kind of what's next. It's from Kyle Higgins, who I interviewed for Hard Drive, by the way, and the very first page opens up on a cell phone. Someone has their bank account open, and it's got savings like $3, and like the checking account is negative $30,000. And as an aging millennial, I was like, no, I have to read what happens. And this character, Nathan, is Ubering to try and make some money, and by the end of it, he's had all these shitty people in his cab or in his car, and by the end of the workday, he's crying because he's in this bottomless pit, and no one is going to save him. And I think that's what's really beautiful about Radiant Black. He eventually gets these superpowers after moving home because he was a failed writer out in LA. Again, I relate, man. I relate. What else? It's just this, yeah. So he gets these superpowers, and he starts working towards, saving local people. The villains start popping up. The unique thing about the villains is that they're powered by this thing called the Radiant that gives Nathan his powers, which allows him to defy gravity and fly, and like he kind of has strength based around the gravity. The powers, I'm not even gonna get into the powers, but the villains like feeding off of that's a unique spin that I really like. They do some really daring stuff where Nathan dies in an early issue. He dies like in the 4th issue, and his buddy takes over. His buddy Marshall takes over as Radiant Black. And they're like 30 issues in, and they just had a vote. There were like multiverses and everything. It's just a good series about no one coming to save you and you having to save yourself. Save yourself while also supporting others. It's a lot of fun. Rogue Sun is actually set in the same universe. It's by Ryan Parrott. This one, man, I'm going to talk about all of these. We're going to be here for like another hour, aren't we?
That's why I was like, yeah.
Rogue Sun's just about a guy who gets his superpowers from his estranged father who dies and leaves him with the powers, and he has to find out who killed his dad. And it's funny because it's Rogue Sun, S-U-N, but he's a rogue son, S-O-N. So that's pretty cool. All the superheroes in that one are supernatural. It takes place in New Orleans. That was just a lot of fun. And the superhero, you fucking hate him. He's a bully. He's a school bully. So that was a fun little twist on that. No One is a mystery, also set in the same universe as Radiant Black and Rogue Sun. This is all part of the Massiverse. And this one is set in Pittsburgh. It's about a hero that is taking out the well-to-do folks in Pittsburgh that are kind of dragging it down. Very relatable story given everything going on in the headlines right now. This is a 10-issue series. I actually just got the trade paperback in today. The unique thing about this one is you finish an issue And then there's a podcast episode that goes along with it, a fictional podcast that is basic, and it's basically just a play on like the mystery news podcast and how obsessed we are getting our news from these different media formats, all in with the central mystery of who is no one, who the fuck is this mysterious superhero who might also be a villain shooting people. That's fun. Saga, if you read comic books, you know Saga. It's about these two people from these two different species that get together. Their species happen to be at war, and so the fact that they have a love child, kind of not good for both sides. So they're on the run because they're being hunted by both sides. It's been going on since 2012. So let's see, how old were you in 2012, Josh?
18.
So then in 2012, I was 19 or 20. I was 20.
It's 18, 19.
So the unique thing about this is you're growing up with the child. I think is that Peter K. Vaughan? I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher names, people. It's just what I do. It's kind of my thing. But he said he wants to finish it, so we're on issue I think 70 right now, and it's going to be about 110 if I remember correctly. And if that is if they keep on the same timeline that they've been on since 2012, it'll finish when the child character turns 18. So anyone that was born in 2012 will also, I believe, be turning 18 when this finishes in 20.
That's crazy.
It's fucking nuts. But that's fun. It's just it's soapy. It's got all these interesting characters. It's got a lot of stuff about legacy. And then Lying Cat is also a really fun character. If you don't know Lying Cat, go look Lying Cat up. Deviant is a horror miniseries from the same writer of Something is Killing the Children and Department of Truth. This guy's really got some fucked up shit. This one is about a Santa Claus killer that is killing young men in the showers, I believe. I don't know. I have to go back and read it. We could probably take this one off just because it's not so fresh in my mind, but it's really good. It's really scary. It's really spooky. It hasn't even finished, so I'm going to take that one off. Something is Killing the Children is a series that blew up during COVID. And I've told you about this one. This is the one where if a kid imagines something, it becomes true. Enough people believe in it. It becomes this thing. And it starts killing people in the town. And Erica Slaughter goes out to stop these monsters. She's part of this secret organization that does that. She doesn't play by their rules, though, so they don't like her going out and doing this on her own. A lot of lore stuff. It's really good. I finally caught up on it. It's got all these spin-offs that I need to read as well. Department of Truth, I've kind of fallen off of a little bit. So it's kind of got the same premise where the Department of Truth, their duty is to stop people from believing in weird things. So like the arc I just finished was about Marilyn Monroe and people believing just the things people believed around her and the things people believed around JFK. And again, enough people believe something, it's true. So there's a really good Bigfoot arc that really hits hard because this father really, kind of neglected his son while being on the hunt for Bigfoot. And he comes to find out Bigfoot's real and he sees him. And the agent that catches up with him is like, I think they end up killing Bigfoot, and he gives him a hug. And the guy's like, it's real, but no one will believe me. And he's like, but you were right, and that's all that matters. And then the character ends up going and kissing his son, if you know what I mean, Josh.
Yeah.
Not kissing his son.
No,
ending it all because it being true, but then him throwing his life away, and now he has nothing because he saw this thing. I'm going to take the Department of Truth off just because it's kind of fallen off on me. Descender reminds me a lot of Saga, just a little more sci-fi. It's about a little robot boy being hunted down and people wanting him because his little robot DNA, I'm air quoting robot DNA, matches the robots that have been attacking people. It reminded me a lot of Mass Effect reading it. But I'm also okay with taking it off because I don't think it landed as well as I wanted it to. And it's got a sequel series that I need to read, but I'm missing an issue, so I'm waiting until I get that. Oh, here we go. Home stretch. Irredeemable is about a Superman character. This is from Boom. It's not an actual. This is not DC. It's not in any of those universes, but it's about a Superman character who just finally gets fed up with humans and just like starts fucking frying them. Just fries them. He's like, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm done. And I know the bad Superman trope has been done to death between this, The Boys, Invincible. But this is really cool because you have all of these. This reminded me a lot of Watchmen, and then the ending just kind of didn't hit for me. It just kind of abruptly ends. I'm gonna cut redeemable. I enjoyed it while it lasted. Ending just didn't stick it. Ice Cream Man is a horror anthology. This one started back in 2018. First issue is about a couple $100, so if anyone wants to buy that for me, please do so. It's just about this ice cream man doing these scary things. I've got an issue here about a car crash, like a 7-second car crash, and it just goes through all the things where like the dad is all about and like it flashes through his life, it flashes through the mom's life, and then it goes back to the kids in the back seat and it flashes through their lives that they're not going to live because they died in the car crash. And then there's a second part to it where you go to the truck that they hit, and you find out one of the driver of the truck is like a writer who just submitted a short story to like a magazine, and his buddy in the passenger seat survives, but he doesn't. And it's a fascinating story about how his buddy lives on through that story being published. And then you turn to the last page and it's the full story and you read the story. And so it's doing really cool stuff with that. It's still really creepy. The latest the latest issue was about a haunted house, but it wasn't really haunted house. It was a fucked up ghost, like being like, yeah, it's scary here, but look. And then you turn the page and it's something from real life about like school shootings.
Jesus.
Or I think there was something about COVID in there. And it's like, but then we'd go back to the haunted house. It's like, but we can be spooky over here with this body that doesn't have any skin. So it's very tongue in cheek. It's very cheeky. I'm okay with keeping Ice Cream Man for now. I also want to keep Local Man. Local Man's about a superhero that gets kicked out of his superhero team for sleeping with the leader's girlfriend. And he goes back to his hometown. This is a really good one. It's really cheesy. It only had 13 issues. So what they did was the 12 issues came out, and then the last issue, instead of it being issue 13, was issue 25. So they did like a time hop. And they're like, we're ending it right now because we don't really it's not really going anywhere. We don't have the readership that we want it to have. But it's just really fun, really cheesy. The mysteries in the two separate arcs are really good. The main character has a dog that is immortal, that becomes immortal because I forget what it was. Like a ghost is trying to latch onto somebody, and it ends up latching onto his dog, and his dog becomes immortal. And he's just, every other scene is him carrying this dog around with him to go investigate something. And it's just this it kind of reminds me of Mia a little bit. And then The Sacrificers is futuristic sci-fi. It follows a little bluebird person. He's like a bluebird, but he's like us. He's a person. And so the gods of this world require a sacrifice from each family. And the day he's going to be sacrificed, all of his friends are murdered in front of him, but he somehow gets all these powers from this goddess who is like the daughter of the main god. So all her powers are sucked out of her, and he has them all. So he's this jacked, sexy bluebird, blue jay motherfucker of like going and killing the gods. He just killed like the Poseidon stand-in, and now it's Josh. This is God of War 3. This is God of War 3 with a bluebird.
Yeah, I remember you showed me the first issue of it.
Yeah, it's really good. The goddess is fucking pitiful. She's like got nobody, and now everyone like just kind of kicks her. And also very timely with all the CEO shit going on. So that's kind of the breakdown.
But now to 3. So, actually no, down to 2 because you're keeping Invincible.
I know I'm keeping Invincible because it's just fucking so good, so fucking good.
I would almost argue that Radiant Black is probably up there too, because you talked about that one way more than the rest of it.
I like it, but I also think I might be biased because it was my first full series that I read through. I mean, it's not done; it's still going, but it's the first series that I went and I went out to all the different stores, went hunting for all the issues.
Right.
We can cut Rogue Sun just because, while I like it a lot and I like Dylan being a bully, I like it. It's top 5. It's just not top 3. Same with No One. I really like the gimmick of all the podcasts and all the extra stuff. They're making a fucking movie that extends it even further. I'm okay with cutting it. Let me read what's left for everybody. So we've got Invincible, Radiant Black, Saga, Something is Killing the Children, Ice Cream Man, Local Man, and The Sacrificers. And this is really tough because I really like all of these. All 7 of these are really fucking good. I'm gonna go ahead and cut Saga. Even though I got Matt into it. Matt's got like every trade paperback now. Matt should be all caught up. But the latest few issues I haven't really been vibing with. They've got 2 more issues to close out this arc, so I'm sure they'll bounce back, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. I'm also gonna cut Something is Killing the Children. It's one of those series where if I read like 2 or 3 issues, I have to take a break because they're killing kids, man. They're killing kids left and right. People and kids are getting eaten, man. They're getting eaten.
Every time you talk about it, though, I always think of I think it's called Tooth Fairy. That Tooth Fairy that haunts the kid when he was little.
Darkness Falls.
Is it Darkness Falls?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just reminds every time we talk about it, it just reminds me of that.
I don't think Darkness Falls is aged really well. Like if we went back and watched it, we'd be like, man, this is like shit. No wonder like the movie's so dark. They don't want you to see her. So we're left with Invincible, Radiant Black, Ice Cream Man, Local Man, and The Sacrificers. This is tough. So I'm keeping Invincible. I plowed through that motherfucker. Oh, man. And I've got the new issue of Sacrificers sitting right here that I'm going to read after the show. So I'm kind of bummed. I should have read that. I should have read it.
Well, here, Nick. So you mentioned Ice Cream Man, you mentioned Sacrifices, but you just gave up on Local Man. Like you skipped it.
No, I do want to keep Local Man because it's ended, and I feel like it ended in a good spot, but I'm really sad that it ended. And it also does this really cool thing where so you have your main story, but then if you flip it over, it's a flashback to when he was still part of the team. And it's like 2 completely different comics. So like Local Man's like, just this modest, muted colors. He's back home at Farmington, Connecticut, I believe. And you flip it over and it looks like a fucking X-Men comic. And it's very cheesy. I'm going to cut Radiant Black.
Okay.
I love it. It's still an ongoing series. Now I'm caught between cutting Ice Cream Man and The Sacrificers. Ice Cream Man does have those one-offs where it's like I'm not really feeling it. Like they did a James Bond episode, James Bond type of issue that it really didn't land with me. They've done like a nightly talk show. They'll do like weird ones where it's like a Monsters Almanac. And like those really weird ones I don't really gel with half the time. So I'm going to go ahead and cut Ice Cream Man.
Okay. Now, would you say this is your order, or would you like to rearrange it?
I think... Oh, shit. Didn't mean to do that. I think I'm going to move Local Man above Invincible.
Okay.
That's just how I'm feeling. I don't know. There's just something about Local Man. There's something about moving home and just like eating shit. Like, I forget his. I think he's Crossjack. I think his name's Crossjack, if I'm remembering correctly. And I should know it, but it's been a few weeks since I last read it. But everyone's like, "Fuck you, Crossjack," because he's a piece of shit and everybody hates him. And I know how it feels like move home and kind of just be eating shit, like not wanting to be there, but you're there. And nobody was telling me to fuck off or anything like that. But I really related to that being home and not wanting to be home when I first moved back.
Oh no, okay, you can still feel that way. It's okay.
It's okay. You can hate this fucking place.
I get it.
So best comic series Nick read this year. And number 3 is The Sacrificers. Number 2, Invincible. And then in the number 1 spot is Local Man. Gone too soon. I hope they bring Local Man back one day because I was really, really digging that. Josh, we made it through day 1.
That's going to take us an hour to get through this, Josh. Yeah, bullshit. We're going on 2.
Oh, that was going to be a long one. So just to recap real quick, we had best new character with number 3. Let me restart that. We had best new character with Antea and Red at number 3 from Banishers. At number 2, Sargon from Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And then at the number 1 spot, Pepper from Pepper Grinder. Second category, we had Disappointment of the Year. At number 3, we had the Sony login requirements. At number 2, we had Concord, Life and Death. And then at number 1, we had layoffs in the industry, almost at 1,500 and counting. And then at number 3, Best Comic Series Nick read this year, we had number 3, The Sacrificers, number 2, Invincible, and number 1, Local Man.
Also, correction, Nick, not 1,500, 15,000.
I'm sorry, 15,000. It's worse than I thought. It's worse than I thought. For tomorrow, stay tuned for tomorrow because we've got 3 new categories, including Best Single Player, Best Music, and then Most Unplayed Game. So stay tuned, and we've got a full week. So yeah, come back, please. You're not doing anything. Come back. Yeah. Let's close it out. Hey everyone, this has been Smashing Game Time. I hope you all had a smashing great time. We'll see each and every one of you tomorrow.